All right, troops, welcome to the Action Leap. My name is Owen. So tonight we're heading back to 2010 and we're going to be discussing Joe Carnahan's version of the A-Team, which is, of course, an update of the much beloved 80s TV show. So before we start that, I'm going to bring in the squad. First off, we will start off with John from Action Flicks. Hey, man, how are you?
How's it going?
Good. And next up, we will have J-Man. Hey, all right.
Hey.
And finally, Charlie.
I pity the fool. What's happening?
I should have thought of that.
Right. So it's just us four tonight, I believe. And that's all J-Man's posting stuff there. Alrighty. So before we start talking the A-Team, so me and J-Man got to do something awesome at the weekend. We got to meet Stan Bush, like the iconic singer. Did the Touch and Dare and everything from Transformers and then Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Turbo Kid, just like so many amazing songs. And he was super cool in real life. He was just such a nice guy. I think we were all fangirling a bit, really, weren't we, J-Man?
Yeah, I've met so many people now that it means nothing to me. Like I just meet them like, oh, thanks. But like Stan Bush, the thing is, it's a childhood thing, and it's a little bit different. Like I met all the Terrifier people, but I just watched Terrifier a couple of years ago or whatever, right? So it's just like I'm an adult and saying I can talk as an adult. But when you meet a childhood one, like whenever it gets to Dolph Lundgren or one of these guys, it's like, oh shit, like this is. I listened to You Got the Touch like 25 times in a row one time. And then I did like 3 or 4 dares just to like get in there. But like, I love all of the songs that he's ever done. And I've been following his newer albums as well. So it was a great experience. There wasn't really wasn't many people there. We go on a Sunday. My hack is a Sunday. You go a Sunday and no one's really there and you get a chance to actually talk to the person. You're not being rushed. I don't know, and Sean came with us as well. It's like all 3 of us got a chance to talk to him for like a decent amount of time, without it being too uncomfortable. You're like, okay, I've gushed over you enough now. I can go. But it was awesome. It was damn awesome.
It was, and then Sean got that vinyl version of the sign, which was amazing. I was to get that framed. And then he signed the CDs for us and didn't charge any extra for that. So we got a photo with CD and everything. So that was awesome. So
good time. Good time.
Long live Stan Bush. Anyway. So we're going to be talking about the A-Team tonight from Joe Carnahan, and I feel like this movie kind of got forgotten very, very quickly, and I really had a good time with it. We're going to discuss it, like how it lives up to the TV show, and I think most of us didn't watch it since like the 80s, but I did watch it quite recently, a couple of years ago, so it's all fresh in my mind, and I really like the movie. I like the casting of it. I think everybody does their part. At first, I was like, Liam Neeson seemed like a odd choice for Hannibal. I would have thought Mel Gibson would have been better, as I said before. But I think it was 2010. Was that the dark times then? I think probably. Yeah.
Oh, could be
somewhere around there.
It's anti-Semitic. Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. So there was all that. But he. I just pictured him as Hannibal, just with a cigar and just saying, "I love when a plan comes together." I always just could have pictured him doing it. I also would have probably cast Ice Cube as BA. Because he just had that sort of more ferocious personality. Because I thought Rampage Jackson was good, but I know he's not intimidating. Considering he's a UFC fighter, I think it's funny. I just thought he had kind of too soft a face, and he was sort of But I thought they kept like who the character was. So he's scared of flying, and you have to sort of knock him out before flying and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that was all in the show. And I don't know, some people would disagree or whatever, but. I loved Charlton Copley as Murdoch in it. I thought he just stole the movie. He was arguably even funnier than Schultz. He was amazing. I just loved the stuff he did, and I thought it was a brilliant update of the character. It's just kind of crazy and really funny. The script was funny, and then I thought Bradley Cooper was really good as Face as well. And like me and my brother Ed, we always just go "Good morning" the way he does that. It's just like it's got so many good one-liners. And also, enough people don't say Alpha Mike Foxtrot, which I'm going to start saying more.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoy the film. I particularly enjoy the unrated cut. There's not really that much difference. There's like a couple more swear words and a few scenes are longer here and there. There's not really that much that's too different there, but the action scenes are mostly crazy. I like how it keeps the tone of the original series. They've got the sort of craziness and it's like the ridiculousness. Like it's the most outlandish scene is whenever they're piloting the tank in the sky, and I thought, I'm sorry, that's pure A-Team nonsense, and that just totally belongs in this.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, there's CG, but and I would have preferred practical. But were they going to do fly a real tank? There's certain things, but I don't.
Why not?
They could have. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. It just, I like the outlandish nature of it. I thought it worked well. I thought is it Patrick Wilson? He wasn't sort of scary as a villain. He's kind of more funny than anything else. So,
yeah.
It's there wasn't anybody who was a particularly. You never felt that the guys were really under any like physical threat, really. But I enjoyed it. My only thing is, and I think the theme tune could have been used a bit more. They sort of teased it a lot, and they always do this with things now. It's like, oh no, we can't have a theme tune, but we'll just tease it here and there. It's like, just play the fucking theme tune. It's like whenever they're doing something and then the new sort of theme comes in, I'm like, no, that's where you play the A-Team theme. And like the best time they used it was whenever they're in like the asylum and they're watching like the movie and you hear A-Team theme, and then the van comes like crashing through with the music playing, and it's like, okay, that's a cool moment. I love that. Yeah. But I just wish they just used it just a bit more rather than sort of teasing it. But yeah, hold on, let's see. Wolverine. Yeah, it's out on DVD. I think I'm going to get it actually because I watched it a couple of years ago, so most of it's still pretty fresh.
I think there's a Blu-ray out now.
There's a Blu-ray
of the whole season. I need to upgrade mine.
I told Owen I was checking it out before I got online. They have the episodes on YouTube.
Tubi used to have it forever on there. I didn't look, but you spent because I would just turn a random episode on. 18. Turn it on. I think it was last year. Sean and I were talking, and it ended up we watched the exact same episode at the same time.
That's right.
We just happened to be talking about it.
Yeah. What I loved about the original show, and me and John were talking about this earlier, was how nobody ever like got killed in it.
It's a G.I. Joe cartoon.
Yeah. But I kind of was hoping in the movie that they would have created a tank out of toilet roll or something, because that was all the kind of thing that they did, where they'd be locked up and then they do something ridiculous. But I suppose for like the final showdown, they kind of did that with like putting the helmet thing on over Murdoch and everything.
They did that, and then they did the thing where they had to go around and steal parts from the camp to get ready for the thing that was like their montage from the TV show.
Yeah. But yeah, I think generally as an update, I think it was pretty successful. There's not too much that bothers me about it. I would have loved to have seen more adventures of them. I could have done with a trilogy. Yeah, anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to let you guys go. So before J-Man and Charlie take over, John, I'm going to let you speak.
Wow, I feel called out, J-Man. What about you, bro?
No, it's good. It feels good.
Don't worry.
I still have this one left from last week.
Oh, there we are. We'll always use that.
That's a good one.
Funny story. Owen and I were talking before we got on the air, and we were like, yeah, the stream last week. We're like, what were we talking about last week? And I was like, I don't know. It took us like 2 minutes to figure out it was Beverly Hills Cop that we were.
Neither of us could remember.
Like, oh yeah, it's like I forgot what I had for breakfast. But yeah, the A-Team. So here's the deal. My childhood on Sunday nights before that was Battlestar Galactica and Chips. And then after that, it was the A-Team and Knight Rider. So it was like that. It's like montages of my childhood, and the A-Team stuck in my wheelhouse because, like, I was getting into action. Like I said, like Lone Wolf McQuade, the Chuck Norris movie, and stuff like that had come out, and stuff like that. So I was like, ooh, now it's like action shows on television and stuff like that. And I always loved it because I love the characters. I love the fact that they would. And of course I'm a kid, so I'm like violence, so it's like I wasn't really like prone to any of that type of stuff. But it was just now watching it as an adult, it's funny how like they have machine guns and they're all shooting and they're like this close to each other, but yet nobody ever gets hit. It's like cars blow up, cars flip over. But it was like like I said, it was like a G.I. Joe cartoon. Like, when they shoot a helicopter and you see the guy parachute out, it's like, oh, okay, he's fine. It's like, it's all good. It's war, but nobody dies. But I love the movie probably more than I loved the TV show, mainly because I thought it was bigger, it was badder, and and I love the fact that it was more realistic. People did die in it. It's like I love when BA at the end took out Pike. That was a badass moment. Because I hadn't seen the movie in a while, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about that part. I wish it would have gone a little bit longer because he took the knife out. I was like, ooh, knife fight, but then he just throws him on his head. But you were talking about like how Mel Gibson would have been better, but I loved the casting. I thought they were pretty much all spot on. I loved Bradley Cooper. I loved his take, and I loved how some of the original stars cameoed. And he's going into Tan, and then who gets out? It's like, or like he's getting the shock treatment. Like who's the doctor? Like analyzing of stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And like Lance LeGault as Colonel Decker was great, but Jessica Biel was better looking as Sosa, who was chasing them down. So it's like for 2.5 hours, that's fine by me. So but I was always more prone to the movie, and like I said, I was just watching some of the TV show before we came online, and even though it's pure 80s, it's just, I don't know, it's cheesy, it's probably dumb. Like if I showed it to my children, they'd probably be like, what the hell is this? But it's a product of that era, and we're products of that era, so it's like we get it, we understand, and we know why it was created in the first place. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, fair enough. All right, J-Man.
Well, I liked the movie. I loved the show as a kid. Murdoch was my favorite, and Mr. T. I had a Murdoch toy, I had a Mr. T toy, I had the van. I have a small van now. Well, you're not going to be able to see it. It's on the shelf. I've rewatched it on DVD maybe like 6 years ago or something. I still love the original show. The characters is what makes it, and their camaraderie, and even when they're arguing with each other, it's all done in a kind of a fun way. Like they'll die for each other, and it was one of the times where, like, I think most of the times you saw shows where everyone's all on the same page. And I know now this buddy cop and all this stuff, it's like, even with I'm wearing Starsky and Hutch, it's like, characters like, bicker with each other back and forth, but you never saw it to this extent where they're literally angry at each other all the time. But then, somehow you were able to tell as a kid that, oh yeah, they're like super tight with each other, even though they're arguing. I like that. The violence as a kid, you didn't think about it too much. Like I watched a lot of like violent movies, and I didn't think this was less violent or more violent. I didn't really think who's getting killed on screen and who's not getting killed on screen. I think it was later on when I started to think, hey, no one ever really died on the A-Team, right? Or you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like while you're watching, you're like, hey, that guy should have died. And so you're just like, wow, that was cool. And you're just into the show. And then there's always like some guy who has to point out, oh, by the way, did you know no one died on that show? I was like, oh, okay. It doesn't make or break a show, but nobody died on the Cosby Show, and I like that. So
that we know of.
That we know of, right?
Yeah.
So there is shooting and everything, but my interpretation is that the A-Team, they're so good that they can get the job done, and nobody really has to die. So that was kind of the way I just kind of brushed that off. For the movie, you saw it in the theater. I didn't like that the van got crushed and then never came back, and I thought, why would you even bother? Like, so watching the movie grew on me as I watched it in the theater, because I started out thinking, this is awesome. Like they're all meeting each other up, and I love where he meets up with BA, and he's like, whoosh, like I've got the Ranger. He's like, I'm a Ranger. It's like, oh, this is cool, right? And it's like, oh, it was like fate that we all met, right? And then we're gonna go save my buddy. And then they crushed the van. I was like, okay, this movie can F itself. Like, what was the point of that? That's just garbage. Like, why? Like, it's just, here's the van, and then they destroy it. You're like, okay, this sucks. And then I was like, this movie has no respect for the show, and I was pissed off. So, but the movie's still going on. I'm like, great. I still got like an hour and 20 minutes left of this shit. So as I was watching, I was like, kind of like this movie. I like, they had cameos of the other guys in there. They only had Face and Murdoch. They did do something fun with the picture when they're watching the 3D movie in the thing. Mm-hmm. All of the characters were characters that the actors have played in other things. So Reginald Barkley is Dwight Schultz's character in Next Generation, Star Trek, and Voyager. So I was like, that's cool. So the movie they're watching is starring characters that the actors played in other things. I thought that's fun. So I'm watching. I was like, I kind of like this. I thought Sharlto Copley was just the damn best. He was super funny. So at the end of the movie, I really liked it. And then I walked out thinking, well, you know what? What the hell? I like this movie. Why didn't they just have the van? Like, if they just, even if the van was destroyed, and then maybe in the third act they rebuild it, and then maybe soup it up, like they put weapons
on it. For the finale in the docks, have the van.
That would have been a good idea. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
And then I would have been like, hell yeah. Because you got to think, in retrospect of all of these things, Starsky and Hutch, that was the most garbage film of all time. All those Dukes of Hazzard movies are super awful. They're terrible. Miami Vice, the film, it's actually not a bad film until you say,
not a good Miami Vice film.
Right. Until you say, by the way, this is based on Miami Vice, the TV show. Oh, it is?
Is it? Fuck. Yeah. There's like nothing, only by name alone. Yeah.
By name only. I don't think it's a garbage film.
No,
like
it's a cop movie. It's just not Miami Vice.
It's just not Miami Vice. You're like, what, you know? Whereas I do think Starsky and Hutch is a garbage movie, and The Dukes of Hazzard is also a garbage movie. I think those movies are actually garbage, not bad interpretations. A-Team, I think, is a pretty good interpretation of A-Team, and it's a pretty good action movie. Listen, that tank thing. Look, that's genius. Okay, I don't know who came up with that idea, but
somebody wrote that. Somebody thought of that and wrote it into a damn movie.
You can't. And Owen said this. It's right out of the show. Look, the whole point is, and then Jessica Biel says, she goes, they do ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And it should be ridiculous.
Yeah, she's like, they're trying to fly the tank. Because she knows what they're doing. Yeah,
and she knows what they're doing, right? And then it's like, you know, I'm doing this thing, and it's like, oh, I'll do it with like containers. Like, no, like the way that trick works can't work with those containers.
Those cranes don't move that fast. Okay?
Yeah, and there's no sleight of hand. You can't, you know. But the plan is cool. There's no, if you got shot, I don't care what you're wearing over your head, your brains are scrambled to hell. But he can survive because it's Murdoch, and he's crazy anyway. So now he's just more crazy. You know?
It made him.
Anyways, I'll let Charlie go. I like the movie. Listen, if the van was there in the third act, we'd be like, hell yeah, this was cool. But it's not there, so there's still a part of me I'm like, why isn't the van? Like, it's not like it's some. I know that there's problems with the General Lee. I love the General Lee. It's my favorite car. I know there's problems with it because of whatever dumbass crap that's going on, where people can't understand that things happen in time periods, and in those time periods, things mean other things than in this time period. So maybe in the year 3000, this will mean good luck or something, right? And then someone's going to be, well, this means bad, and you know. So I just, you know, anyways, just have the van. It's a black, cool van. Like, why couldn't you have it?
What's the problem with it? Yeah, I never understood why they did that, because I remember I actually forgot they did that until I watched it the other day, and I was like, oh man, they don't come back in the van again. I was like, oh no, all right, you lose a star for that. Because like,
I've never forgot.
Yeah, the van was like a major character. It's like the other member of the team.
It was the biggest piece of merchandise for the entire
franchise.
We all had the
So actually, Sean is commenting now. Sean, the reason he's not here tonight, he's having computer problems the way I have. I got kicked out earlier on, by the way, everybody. So there's all kind of weird things going on with StreamYard and my laptop, whatever else. So J-Man and the guys will continue if I get punted. Anyway, the movie tie-in comic A-Team Shotgun Wedding was pretty good. If you want another adventure with this version, it felt more like the show. Yeah,
I have to find that. I haven't read that.
Yeah, generally something like, yeah, exactly. But people
looks naked without it. But
yeah, it's just a car then. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Charlie, over to you then.
So look, I will always be one of the first ones that go, I want my fucking van. After watching this for so long, though, because this is a prequel. This is before the TV show. So I got it in my head that it's like, okay, he will rebuild the van. Well, that works too.
I just leave that on for next hour.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll talk through that. No one's going to remember what I said now. That's fine.
Best part of the Dukes of Hazzard right there, everybody.
Yeah, the music video. But I play it off in my head that the van will come back. I would have loved like a shipping container fell down and the door opened and a pure black van just kind of rolls out and BA just looks at it. Just something to tell me the van's coming back.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to ding the movie for that because I love this movie. I went to the theater and watched it. The TV show, I grew up with it. We were talking earlier this year about our action movie influences, like really what kicked it off. And I came to the realization that A-Team is really my first introduction to action, like not just cartoons, but like a live action show. And I grew up with it. My dad was a mechanic. He loved the part where they would, put shit together, come up with a way out of the plan. We've always had a van in our family. I have a couple. And, I was just always gravitated towards it. And then this show, the movie came out, went to the theater, absolutely loved it, loved all the cameos. And if you've never seen the director's cut, you don't get to see Murdoch. It's cut, but I think Face is in the theatrical cut.
Face
I think wasn't it a post-credit scene in the theatrical version? I think that there was like a mid-credits or post-credit scene it was instead. And let's go back to the movie.
Might be but it doesn't. It makes more sense that it's there at the insane asylum. And we've all talked about the movie they're playing. They're all wearing 3D glasses. It's my dad and mine's favorite scene. We love it. And if you look, the title of the movie says The Greater Escape.
Yes.
What they're getting ready to do.
Super funny. Yes.
I love it to death, man. But yeah, everyone's cast perfectly. I like Rampage. BA was the badass, but he also had a soft spot. Like he was always good to the kids.
Yeah, the kids. Yeah.
You know, he was always like that. And I feel like Rampage had to kind of mediate how he was going to play BA. The reason Mr. T's not cameoing in this movie because he was pissed off that they wouldn't let him be Mr. T. He goes, I'm Mr. T. If I'm in the movie, that's who I'm going to play. And they're like, no, you can cameo. And he goes, I'm not doing it. So that's the only reason we don't get Mr. T in the movie. Would I loved him to been in there? Obviously, in the chop shop or something, waxing the van, just anything. Hell, I would have took that over Rampage even having a van. They just have him over there like cleaning his own van. But it doesn't. The van. I'm going to harp on the van. The van doesn't fit the story. Nowhere in the movie is there a point where the van would have been critical to the mission. You know, everything is larger. Everything is on a bigger scale. Out of the country half the time. So I'm okay that the van doesn't show back up.
All right, if I can interject here.
I
would have introduced it in the finale that you brought it up there where he like in a crate, you see it comes out, then he appears, then the fucking theme tune players.
That would have been the perfect ending to the movie.
Yeah.
That could have been the montage where that's what they're building. They're like rebuilding. They're like, but they like it like it looks like the van, but they do stuff with it that makes it more badass. Like, you know, machine guns come out of it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
Just anything. Yeah. I mean, I do love, so to give it a little bit of throwback, that they did do things correctly with Hannibal kicking out the back doors and firing the AK-47 in that escape. That's like straight from the TV show. They would always be hanging out the back. There's the famous one where Murdoch's in the wedding dress, hanging out the back of the A-Team van, firing the gun indiscriminately, never hitting anyone. And that's what I loved about it, man. I didn't need everyone to die. I didn't need blood and guts. I loved that. No. The movie came out PG-13, so really there's not even that much killing. I liked Patrick Wilson. He plays a good scumbag, but it works because you have the Pike, the other guy, who is the guy you want to fucking see die. At the end of
that was a cool moment.
He's the physical guy. I forgot to mention
FGM moment.
Yeah. And then I like the twist. I like it being their commanding officer that kind of screwed them over. And they play it off like I tried to talk you out of going, Hannibal, but you didn't listen to me. Like, you didn't fucking try hard enough if you're in on it. And these are your boys. But it kind of works. It kind of throws a wrench in everyone's idea of what's going on. Like, even they start questioning Hannibal. Like, could you ever do that to us? Could you, it added a little bit of more of an element. Dude, when Hannibal's in the freaking crematorium and he comes out telling that joke to the guy that just freaking passes out, I crack up every fucking time. There's another scene of that wouldn't fucking happen. That, they make it out like it ran the full amount and the door automatically opened. That fucking thing he would have been ash.
Oh, he would be melted to hell.
Yeah, regardless of the flames hitting him directly, he would have been there. It is. Well, and that's just it, man. I love the old.
It's an A-Team movie to boot. So
the German couple that are fishing, and she's like, "You're cheating," and then that fucking tank falls, and she laughs.
And she laughs.
Also, for some reason, maybe I forgot at the time, but then John Hamm shows up at the end. It's like, John Draper.
He's another Lynch at the end of this. I was like, I was looking at that going, that's fucking it, because we just covered Top Gun Maverick. He's
was he
in
popular?
That one.
Was he doing Mad Men back? Was that like
Mad Men was on about then? Yeah.
To 2010 is that?
Yeah. Yeah, because it ended a few years ago.
Was he just getting popular? Was that his?
It might have been just
like,
the start.
It was on because I'd graduated from college by then, because I graduated in 2008, and it was already on then because I was doing advertising, and I was like, I want to be Don Draper whenever I leave work, not quite understanding.
So you know what? They were probably using him to be in the sequel then, but there was no sequel. He was probably going to be in the sequel.
And that's another thing that they probably like pancaked. I'm going to harp on this thing. They probably pancaked the van thinking they were going to bring it back. And then they just never got another sequel.
Yeah. See, Sean is the right point here. So I don't like that the movie's all origin. It's a movie thing, I know, but I want the team fighting overmatched bullies who harm the downtrodden. That was 99% of the show and a big part of its charm. Exactly.
I will agree with that, and I think that may have been where they went, because even in the TV show, we just knew they were an elite military unit that were wrongfully imprisoned for a crime they didn't commit.
They say it at the beginning in the intro. It's like, it's all good. But we all know. It's like,
how do you tell that story now in a more modern setting? And I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me as much.
Movie. I mean, the movie is the intro.
Is the intro. Yes.
It is the intro. Now, I knew Sean, we did not talk about this previously, but I knew Sean was going to bring that up because I just know how Sean thinks. It's about 17 minutes. I time code everything. It's about 17 minutes, and then they're all together at that point. After that, they actually say several missions later, and I think 8 years,
months later.
8 years later,
8 years, 80 missions. So I would say that the feeling each other out is done even within the first act. The first act is almost still kind of going, but it's I guess it's a shorter act and the middle one's longer, but it's all together. So then my brain is like, okay, they've gone on many missions. Now they're all tight with each other. They're good. And then so the first 20 minutes is just the formation of the team. Then there's they went on all these missions and they had a great time and now they're buddies. Then the rest of the movie is now the intro song of the TV show. And then the next movie would have been you can hire the A team, and then they're out as soldiers of fortune, and then they help people.
They would have been more civilian based in doing it, which would have honestly sounds like a perfect progression, because they do talk about that. They even throw it in throughout the rest of the movie. You know, they talk about Baghdad. They talk about, you want my special seasoning on the steaks? No, none of that antifreeze shit.
Right.
I got like they know ballsy last time you did. So there's these, the toast points. There's these little things that we're told that they've been together a long time. And BA's like, I still ain't letting it go that one helicopter ride with you, and I'm fucking scared of flying in helicopters and airplanes and anything, which I hate flying. Absolutely. I could kind of probably blame BA, the original TV show, just going, man, if he hates flying, I'm going to hate it. And then I flew for the first time. I didn't fucking like it. I didn't whatsoever. And I still will go out of my way not to fly anywhere. I will drive. Thanks, BA. Thanks, Mr. T. You did it just for me.
I loved the friendship between Murdoch and Face in this one. Like whenever they're sitting at the headquarters before they go into mission, and he's got like the tanning glasses on, whatever. And they're burning the steak. But I love that. And then Murdoch starts like singing some random tune after she walks away, and then Face just starts joining in, and it just there's just that camaraderie and friendship where like he never shouts at Murdoch. The other person who like shouts at Murdoch is BA, which is always the way. He was always like antagonistic towards him.
Always.
But, like everyone else just sort of, they kind of love him and they understand who he is and know that, despite him seeing crazy, he's damn good at his job and always gets the job done when it needs to.
And I liked how they took Face and made him more of a protege to Hannibal, which I think they did a little bit in the TV show, because I think there was a couple missions where they had to go save Hannibal and Face had to come up with a plan. But I like it where Hannibal's trying, he's not young. So obviously you got to be thinking you got to start thinking like I think, not just 2 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead, that whole thing going over the United States border with the Alpha Foxtrot Michael. I fucking love that whole scene. It's like, no, you attacked me. And he finishes the sentence going, over United States airspace, and that motherfucker's face, that Raptor front into the camera blows that helicopter up. Fucking love the beginning of this movie, man.
Oh yeah.
When BA comes out of prison and he's like, oh, I can't kill anyone and blah blah blah. I actually thought so. I I liked that part until I didn't like it. I liked it because I thought, oh, this will now be the reason why they never kill anyone, because they're just like, okay, we're going to respect your vow and we're not going to. But then they just kill anyway. So I'm like, then why did you have that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like with the movie, but there's a few gripes as an A-Team fan, no van, but also as a movie, it's like, I watched the extended version or whatever. It is too long. There's a lot that can just be like removed. The entire storyline of him taking this vow, it's like, but you're going to just kill someone anyway. It's like, well, why is this happening? Like, that's weird. I don't know, like just a few things. There's a relationship with Face and what's her name. And it's like, is that going anywhere? Probably not. I guess they need to have some contact. So you got to have her in there a little bit. I do like Patrick Wilson. I think he is funny. I thought he was funny. And I like that there's multiple villains. So it's like you almost can build the little A-team of villains, right?
Right.
Because each guy has a guy, right? So your commanding officer you're pissed off at, then you got the guy. Like it's almost like everyone has a guy that they can be pissed off at and take on. I do like that Face makes the plan. Because we've already seen Hannibal doing the plan. I would have been pissed off if Face made the plan in the beginning, and it's like, well, why is he making plans? Like, it's not his thing. But Hannibal made a bunch, and then they say, okay, you know what, Face, what do you got in mind, for this one? So I do like that. Yep. I haven't done my space thing on it. I'd probably be at 8 or something out of 10. I would have been way higher if they had the friggin' van. Like, is it so? I understand what you're saying, Charlie. Like, in the sense that, like, where would it have been? My response is like, well, figure it out. You're the writer.
I agree.
We already did the crate or something, and then he appears in the van at the end.
Which I told. I just saying, him when I watch the movie now,
I agree with you.
It's how I kind of cope with no van in the movie.
And he does say we'll pick it up later. So they probably after the mission, they probably went back and then they built.
Oh, they definitely used it. The intent is obviously that they're going to use it in part 2.
Yeah.
The problem was, and this problem we can now see it existed in 2010. Remember when Raiders of the Lost Ark was going to be a franchise? No, it was one awesome movie. Then it became a franchise. You got to make, yeah. You know what, Owen? That's hilarious. I didn't see that. That's the shirt you're wearing because it's covered. So
the title's over your shirt. We didn't even see
that's just random. That's so funny. Yeah. No, you got to make the first movie good. Now, I think they had a little bit of a shortcut because everyone knows the A-Team. So as long as you had those characters, we can figure. Like we could say this is the prequel to the show, and then the show continues with these new characters or with these different actors, right? Like you could say this is a prequel to the whole thing. It just the effects aren't as good, I guess, but. It would have been cool. I would have liked to have seen a part 2, at least a part 2 to have your A-Team proper. I understand why they did the origin because it is kind of a cool. It's not like it's an origin that's boring. And then it's like, well, why did I get this origin? I can't think of an example, but like, if they're going to do an origin of something, then they make it generic. You're like let's say Michael Myers is a random like Rob Zombie's Halloween film. Oh, here's the origin of Michael Myers. Well, you really shouldn't show that because it takes away the mystery. No, let's show it. Oh, he's just like a white trash kid. I'm like, from a white trash family. I'm like, well,
you mean like the Batman then? Oh, let's see him knocking on a door to get into the nightclub. No, he doesn't knock on a door to get into the nightclub. He fucking appears in there like magic. He's Batman.
Yeah, so you like Batman Begins, as so do I. I saw Batman Begins 3 times in the theater. 5 times, nice. Oh wow, that's. No, but twice. Okay, listen, that's okay. Put it up there. No, but in that one, he's trained to be a ninja in this cool area with all these cool ninja characters, and he's learning all this cool shit, and he's learning lessons, and like he's, it explains why he has those spikes. So it's like, yeah, but that looks cool, and that's a cool origin. Like Batman's origin, they made it cooler. In the original comics, like his parents died, that's it. It's just like I vow. It's like obviously they've expanded it with year 1 and all these other things, but there's no need to show an origin for something that's crap. But at least this was a mission, and it was a bunch of missions, and they established that they've been around for a long, long time. I was scared they were going to meet and then do the movie, and then that's it. But having that 8 years and 80 missions later makes it better for me because then I can say in my head, wow, they've gone through so much together, and now I'm getting the movie, so I do like that.
It's the one thing the show never got into was how they got together. Fun fact: Hannibal taught Batman, so there you go. There's how we tie in Batman Begins into this movie. But I like that. I like that I got just enough exposition about the group, because it would be something like if I was watching the show now.
Yeah, I'm going to comment on that in a minute. Finish what you're saying, but I'll continue.
No, well, actually, I'm off track now. I'm interested in this now. So budget too high.
You see, that's what I was thinking, because like if it was a lower budget, you would have to have done it practically. Like the show did, because like you go back to the show and you watch all these 80 shows, it's all practical, real explosions, real stunts, and that was the whole point. Where like,
what they had,
stunts are awesome, but there was no point in this where you're like, oh, that stunt's awesome, on CGI, except when BA is running down the building kind of thing. That was a cool. Was that stunt or was that CG? I can't remember. It looked pretty good anyway.
Half stunt. It's probably a little bit of. He whistles the 18.
Somebody repelled. I mean, they can do that. They do that all the time.
But if it was a smaller budget, then they would be forced to be more practical, like the A-Team. And I like that idea. And as Sean was saying, were they helping somebody? Like, I would have been quite happy if it was just them. They're in Mexico, and then some small town has been taken over by a cartel or some shit, and they have to like scare them off or whatever. Which is what they did in like every episode.
El Guapo. It could be El Guapo.
Yeah, and like that. So, but yeah, instead of going for like the big like ridiculous budget with the over the top set pieces, so I do get that. I mean, I love the set pieces in it, but I do understand what you're getting at there, because like I said, these 80s shows just had great action scenes, and that's why we still watch them today and still hold up, because it's all practical action. They all had great theme tunes. Nothing has a theme tune anymore.
That's what sold the show.
They don't even do intros anymore. They don't. Yeah, they don't even do intros.
That's what made people remember a TV show. I mean, nowadays I don't know what's fucking on TV anymore.
No,
like, there's no good.
And the voiceovers, like you hear the guy like that.
Yeah, the trailer
that brings
guy.
up the ending of the movie. I love the ending of the movie because they do it like the opening of the TV show, and that got me excited for a sequel, because it's like it's the same type of guy talking, and he's saying the exact same thing, and they're showing montages from. Well, actually, it's obviously these actors now, but it's like, and I got excited. I was like, I loved how they ended it, and that's why I wanted to see more. And in terms of the budget, I love the tank scene. I mean, I know it's over the top, I know it's CGI, but I love them.
I do love
flying a tank by shooting.
Yeah.
I love Face getting out of the tank and shooting a 50 caliber, saying, "Is that all you got, bitches?" I'm like, I love that scene. And then it's like you get the funniness, because they're in a tank, they're falling. No, most people would be pooping their pants, but they're having fun. They're laughing, and like
they always look like they're having
fun.
Like,
it's like he's like, the plane blew up. He's like, when? He's like, recently. And
I love that.
Or like when Face gets out and he's shooting the 50 caliber, Murdoch's like, let me get a chance, and he's like, he wants to go on it. So I mean, I know it's over the top, I know it's big budget, I know it's CGI and it's not practical, but I had fun with that scene. I had a lot of fun with that scene.
Not to mention drive the tank out of the lake. Which way to Berlin? An American tank to Berlin.
And I, like I said, and I just love Jessica Biel's reaction, because they're all trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, and she's just sitting back there like, you idiots. They're trying to fly the tank. And they're all like, oh. And I enjoyed the caper scene at the beginning, when they're going to get the plates, and the truck and everything, because that's more practical.
That
there's a
felt
lot,
like large scale A-team scheme.
Yes,
like that. The motorcycle.
But listen,
make sure it's got a full tank of gas, magnets and airbags. Which you're sitting there going, none of this would work.
Correct.
But if they could figure out how to do the tank scene in the 80s, they would have done it in the 80s. They would have been like, we need to do this.
Hell
but
yeah.
like
they would have done
they
that.
couldn't even think about it, because it wasn't even there was no process to even think about doing it.
There was no budget.
It's in the spirit. It's in this. Okay. The reason why this movie's getting a pass from everybody is that it's in the spirit of the show. Yeah. Like, it's like
a light tone.
Yeah, it's like what John's saying. Could they have done that? If they could have done that, that'd be unfathomable. They'd be like, "Well, that's not going to happen."
It's like a toy tank show in the '80s, right? Honestly.
Yeah, they would have done that. I'm not sure.
They peeked at a talking car.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this performed, and what I wasn't paying attention to what people were saying about. I usually don't pay too much attention to what people say in general, because I'm either 100% with them or against them, and they're wrong. So it's like I remember thinking this was pretty good, and I didn't want to read a bunch of people saying, "Oh, this sucks" or whatever. It's like, okay, but I guess it didn't do well because there was no sequel. Maybe it was too expensive, and I don't know. If I feel like I can tell that the guy making this wanted to try to make something cool for A-Team, as opposed to I'm going to make this my way because this is the way I interpret this material. It's like, no, you could put your spins on it and you could do your stuff, but you have to I have to feel like, yeah, this was kind of A-Team. Like as an A-Team movie, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of a 10. As a movie, I'd probably give it more like a 9 out of 10. So, take that for what, well, like Batman Begins, I think is a very good movie. And I think it's a pretty good Batman movie also. Whereas I don't think The Dark Knight Rises is a good Batman movie. And I don't really think it's that great of a movie either. So that's, you know what I mean? Like if that makes any sense, like
I still love it. I don't care what anybody says. I love The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, until the last 40 minutes.
Yeah. She ruins it. What you call Marion Cotillard ruins it with the worst acted death scene maybe of all time.
Well, also story
I've seen
and many contrivances.
Ruining Bane and turning him into a little bitch.
Right, they ruined Bane. So what am I supposed to take out of this movie? Like they didn't ruin the Joker. He was, it's like it's like, okay, he was cool. It's like, but I can't. If you ruin a character, what am I supposed to like? Am I supposed to leave the movie being like, wow, that was awesome. Bane was so cool until the last half an hour where he sucked. It's like, okay, well.
But then it also has, and the thing is, I enjoy it. It's one of those sort of Sumi type things where I know the movie has lots of flaws, but I enjoy it anyway. But it also has like one of the worst lines maybe of all time. And there's actually terrible lines in this movie. But at the end, when he's like, oh, you came back to die with your city. And he's like, no, I came back to stop you. And you're like, no, that's terrible.
Just don't talk. How about not talk?
But then when the guy's like, you're pure evil, he's like, unnecessary evil. And you're like, yeah, people
like, what is happening here?
It's like, who wrote this?
I love
it. It has a lot of fun. And you can tell what people are doing. Like, Pity the Fool as
I love
that is kind of fun, right? That's a neat because
it's how you do it without saying it, which you're never going to say it like Mr. T did.
Right. Here's the problem. Mr. T is playing Mr. T in A-Team. This is why Mr. T isn't happy saying, "Oh, I want to be in it." Well, I'm gonna be Mr. T. He's like, "Well, no, you're not gonna do that." Well, then I'm not in it because it's not a role. Dwight Schultz is an actor. George Papard's an actor. I can't. Why am I blanking? Dirk Benedict is an actor. They're actors. Mr. T is an actor. Mr. T is Mr. T. He's that icon who you're inserting. So clearly, it's just Mr. T. Like it's like I'm just playing myself. Maybe meaner because he's a very nice. We've met Mr. T when he came around.
You either get Mr. T or you get Clubber Lang, which is just a meaner Mr. T in Rocky 3.
Wait.
When I was a little kid, when we were little kids.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
So, anyways, but like, that's why. Like these other people are just actors. Like it's like what does Dwight Schultz care? It's like, okay, I did a role, I got my money, I'm happy with my role. Mr. T's like, that's me.
I know that character. Yeah,
that's the problem with
he is the icon. Aside from the van, Mr. T is the other moneymaker off of that TV show. Hell, you had the costume. You could get his gold chains as a kid, the plastic ones. Mom would never buy me those things. I wanted them so bad.
Yeah, nobody could rock those blue overalls either. Nobody.
Nope. Always looked like an Oshkosh Bagosh kid whenever I would try to rock the overalls.
But you wouldn't tell it to his face. You'd be like, "That looks awesome."
That was the thing with these movies, though. It's like the A-Team, Fall Guy, or whatever else is that. They're making movies for like our generation, but like the young kids, they're like, what the fuck's the A-Team? Who's the Fall Guy? I don't know what this is. And that's why they failed at the box office. Like the Fall Guy was a massive flop because people are like, what's the Fall Guy? And it was one of sort of lesser known 80s shows anyway. I mean, I love the original show. I grew up watching it. And I had that amazing email interview I did with Lee Majors at that time, which was really cool. I read it anytime I'm in a bad mood and the world is a better place. And it's like, love and best wishes, Lee Majors. And I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, all of these, the adaptations of the 80s shows, like The Fall Guy, Miami Vice, whatever, Dukes of Hazzard. I think the A-Team is the best one, easily. I think 100%. It captures the spirit of the original with the light tone, whatever. I think it's respectful to it. Miami Vice was just too different. Where was Crockett's theme tune? Where was anybody with any personality? Like Colin Farrell has like a handlebar mustache, but I found in the movie I need the subtitles on, otherwise I can't hear anybody saying a lot of the time, and that's not just because I'm partially deaf. I just find that, and some of the dialogue is weird as well. I find that even though I'm a huge Michael Mann fan, I do find that some of the dialogue in his movies is very stilted, and I'm like, yeah, people don't say stuff like that.
Then Dukes of Hazzard went a completely 180 degree from what the television show ever was. They, my mom and aunts and my sister went to go watch that movie, not knowing what they were getting ready to go see.
The show was campy, but
I forget what came out.
Raunchy comedy is what.
I went and watched a different movie because I'm not watching that in the theater, and they did. And my mom's a church-going Christian woman.
Oh my God!
Surprised she didn't. Now the theater was not as bad as I think we got an unrated cut later on DVD, but good Lord, it was still pretty bad. And all it turned into was a dick and fart joke movie.
Yeah,
the entire
Johnny
time.
Knoxville was in it.
The guy playing Cooter, it's like, well, what happens if I can't tow her? I guess I'll finger her. It's like, what the fuck is that got to do with the Dukes of Hazzard?
The Dukes of Hazzard is supposed to be too modern day Robin Hood. If only they've explained that. Oh wait, it's in the intro song. It's if only we had a clue if explain what the show's about. Like that's why they have bow and arrows. It's like,
and they turned all that into a joke.
It's a joke.
Them shooting the bow and arrows all the time. I didn't mind them like picking on each other. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Nothing else in that show worked for me.
No,
or in the movie.
Movie, there's no car chase, guys. Roscoe doesn't.
They take the car around the roundabout for fucking how long? And that's supposed to be my Dukes of Hazzard moment.
I can't.
And then there's a race. Like fuck off.
I can't believe it. That's outrageously garbage beyond
now
it.
Now we're mad.
It's pissing me off now.
Well, I was gonna say they even made a direct-to-video sequel to it.
I never watched it.
They're like, okay, the theater movie sucked. Let's make a direct-to-video sequel with people you have no idea who they are, and we'll make it better.
Like, they recast everyone in that. I think if I remember right.
Yeah.
But it's like
I was like, well,
like Wolverine saying 21 Jump Street. While it's funny in some spots, it is not 21 Jump Street from the TV show.
I never watched the movies. I haven't seen the movies. I just saw the trailers for the movies, and I was like,
if it was not named 21 Jump Street, I probably would have liked it a lot better. It didn't need a sequel. It didn't need that at all. But I did like the chemistry between Tatum and Jonah Hill. Like they were funny together. But it's not 21. Just because you throw Johnny Depp at the end of the movie doesn't make it 21 Jump Street.
Right.
Like, period.
Yeah, like
and
you
Richard Grieco.
Like you can't, like there's two things. Again, is it an adaptation? How is it as an adaptation? How is it as just a movie? 21 Jump Street as a movie is like okay to me. As an adaptation, it's garbage. So I'm left with, well, I'm never going to watch this again. I watched it once. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Dukes of Hazzard, terrible movie on its own.
Yeah.
And terrible adaptation. A-Team was a really good movie. That was a pretty good adaptation. So I think maybe just people, I don't know if they wanted more gritty action at the time. They weren't ready for this outlandish, like bombastic, crazy, out there action.
Also,
I don't know.
Like, it was 2010. The Expendables was out. The Losers was out. So it was all kind of men in a mission movies. So maybe people after the Expendables were like, well, nobody's going to really top that. So why bother? Yeah.
Well, and I think it was Wolverine put it on there too. Like the marketing was abysmal for this. Yeah. Like I think I barely remember a few commercials. If you're going to resurgence something that was a huge phenomenon in the 80s, everyone needs to be on that. Like there needs to be something new coming out, a whole like new comic series or a toy line or something. Get a tie-in with someone to make a 18 popcorn holder, out of the van or some shit like they're doing now. It's like, but it had nothing, and it's just kind of came and went and disappeared.
Yeah.
And I used to love Chips. I haven't watched the movie.
I never watched the movie either. Yeah, I watched the trailer. I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not watching that.
Yeah,
why
why is
it Hazard? It was like the Dukes of Hazzard. They turned it into a raunchy comedy.
Oh, was it? Oh, I don't want to watch it.
And like, what is the and I don't understand the point of it, because if you're going to make a raunchy comedy, then just make one. Those tend to sell on their own.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Like American Pie is not based on anything. Animal House, all of these other
Superbad, all these
Superbad
standalone movies that would have been fine.
And they make money. They're easy to look. They're easy to make. They make money back, right? Why do you need to take an IP and turn it into that? Like, just do your own. It doesn't get any cachet value. Like, oh, I can't wait to see Chips be a stupid comedy. It's like, huh? Like, who wants that? The Chips fans don't want it, and new people don't know what Chips is, so they don't care.
This is the problem with all these type of remakes. So, like, you look at the Fall Guy. Like we were saying, like nobody remembers that show except us. I mean, there's elements which are faithful, where he's a stuntman.
Yeah, that's it. He's not a bounty hunter.
He's not a bounty hunter.
And he's a woman.
Yeah,
he's a crying baby.
There's far too much time with the romance scenes and everything else. And as someone said, a brilliant term for it, they said the movie seems smug, where it seems to sort of like, look how clever we are, aren't we clever?
Yes.
Referencing all these things, whatever. And like, no, not really.
The first 10 minutes of it was fine. And I was like, oh, that's very cute banter. Like where she's going back and forth. I was like, that was very cute. That's repeated 17 times in this movie. I'm like, and then there's this there's some great action scene. I don't know if John and Charlie have seen Fall Guy.
Yeah, the action's good, yeah.
You can tell me all about it. I still haven't watched them.
The action is the problem.
But the action, so they're dragging that thing and he's in it and you're like, oh, this is really cool. Then they're cutting away to Emily Blunt singing karaoke. Mm-hmm. Is that what I paid for? To constantly interrupt the action by going to a silly thing. This is what rom-coms do. It's like romantic comedy somewhat disguised so that they think the boyfriends who take these girls to it might think it's okay. Not this one.
Yeah, and rom-com with action scenes, not an action movie.
That's what I was just getting ready to bring. I was just going to be like, let me be devil's advocate for a moment. As much as we bitch about why they don't give us what we want, they played two sides of the coin. They went, here's an action movie and a romantic comedy. Let's see if we can get both moviegoers in to watch. And what happens is you either got to do that fantastically well, where the guy doesn't feel like he's watching a romantic comedy, and the girl doesn't feel like she's watching a blood and guts action movie.
Right.
And they didn't do that. I'm still waiting to see it. I was looking forward to it, but that tells you a lot that I didn't go to the theater and watch it.
I'm sad I went. Like I'm sad I went and gave that.
The problem is they're remaking these IPs that we know and love, but at the same time they're saying, okay, we're going to do this, but we're going to try to make it our own at the same time, and then they F it up.
And nobody's asking for these movies.
And nobody's asking. It's just like just give me an updated version of what I watched on Sunday nights with my dad. It's like, but they like with the Dukes of Hazzard, they're like, oh, we got to make it a raunchy comedy because if we don't, it's not going to make money. And guess what? It still didn't make any money. It's like, just make it make it for us. And like, if it's good, by the way, make it a good movie, because if it is, it'll get word of mouth and people go see it, and then it'll week after week, it'll because that's how movies have legs in cinemas. It's through word of mouth. It's so
The thing was with the Fall Guy. Shut up, Charlie.
No, fine. You go ahead.
The thing is that
everybody calm down.
It's a smile on my face. I'm sorry.
And I've lost my train of thought. God damn it.
Yeah, what was I talking about? It went blank.
Thanks, J-Man.
All right, fuck you. Right, go ahead, Charlie. Well, I'm trying to remember what I said.
Yeah, right.
What I was saying too.
Charlie forgot what he was going to say. Now we all forgot what we were going to say.
Okay, the Fall Guy. You're talking about Fall Guy.
Well, we're beating up the Fall Guy stuff.
Wait, Charlie.
Jesus Christ!
I remember whenever it came out, and I was reading comments from people. And people who worked in the film industry liked it, and like, oh, it's great because it's a great nod to the film industry, or whatever. And I was like, okay, guess what? The majority of the population don't work in the film industry, and we don't give a fuck about it. And that's the problem. Like, and that's generally the thing. But most people, I was reading comments on social media, and anybody who watched it went, yeah, this movie was trash. This isn't what it was supposed to be. It was like we were wanting it basically to be an action movie, but there's more of a romance to it. And then there is no sense of urgency to the story whatsoever. Everything is dragged out, and just when you think things are going to get going, there's another long, talky romance scene with too much dialogue. And like, fucking come on, up the pacing.
Yeah.
And
they were so happy with the smug as they're so happy. They're like, check this clever scene out. And I thought, hey, that was a clever scene. Then it's like, here's another, and here's another. And it's like that comedian who goes up and does this 5-10 minute bit, and you're like, wow, that was great. Hold on, guys, I've got more. No. You can go now. You've said your jokes. Then it's like it's on it. It's welcome. Like very quickly. You're gonna watch the first 20 minutes like, this is a fun movie. I'm having a lot of fun. It wears thin very quickly. It is so much banter. You're like, and it's repetitive banter. Yeah. I just heard once you hear the first banter, it's just repeated. Not 17. It's probably repeated 7 times. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not doing my fake number. It's like every other scene, it's the same. It's repeat.
And you know what's going to happen. You know they're going to get together. Just come on, hurry up to get together. It's like, it's just so predictable. I'm waiting for 200 billion budget hard castle. Any day now.
Jake and the Fat Man. No, it'll be the Fat Man will be Lizzo or something. It'll be whatever.
Oh God.
Hunter will be a woman. No offense to women.
Yeah, I know. It'll be Jake and the plus-sized man.
Yeah. With all these movies that have been remade and everything from the 80s, and I could be opening up Pandora's box by saying this, but why have we not gotten a Knight Rider movie?
Oh, we did. It was on TV and it sucked. And
not a TV version. Not a new series, Knight Rider 2000 or. You know what? Wasn't there another one after that? Like, why have we not got? Then we get the car, because if you don't put the car in the fucking movie, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Have talking cars now. It's not so much of a novelty anymore because we got screens and everything else.
I guess. But
did you guys like the Knight Rider show that was the most recent one where the car could morph? It was like it had like.
That's the one I was thinking of. I think I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of it, but I never really got into it. Like
the one where his son, it was his son. It was
the son, Michael Knight's son. I thought it was kind of fun, and I thought the same thing. The car, it could morph to different cars, but it always had the strip. So it could look different.
Would like change to different cars.
It would change to different black cars. It could.
So it wasn't like Viper where it had like different modes.
No. I liked Viper too. That's
Viper. I loved. Jesus, Fox was
I'm still waiting for. I'm still waiting for Automan and Manimal to get their update.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Automan. I love that show.
Yeah, that's on DVD, I think. But.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got that and Manimal. I think Shout Factory did versions of
Mantis was another one that came out. Yeah, that time. It was fucking great. That was a good one.
And I just don't think like Knight Rider. They can't grasp it. The thing is like they look for things in the wrong way. Like they're like, okay, what's Fall Guy? Well, what can we do? Can we make it a romantic comedy? Oh, let's take Miami Vice. Well, it's cheesy, so let's make it hardcore this time. Yeah, hardcore. It's like, I know, but like, what is this?
Miami Vice isn't cheesy though. Like, you go back and watch it. It's still
I'm not saying it's cheesy. Their interpretation of it. That's their interpretation.
What you're saying,
their interpretation of Dukes of Hazzard is this. Dukes of Hazzard is okay, fighting the system, right? And it's 2 guys. Look, they're moonshining. That's a rubbish thing, right? But it's illegal, so they're stuck in Hazard County. Their gun licenses are taken away. They can't leave the state, right? Meanwhile, the state is corrupt by this rich guy. That is what that is. That doesn't translate to today because surely it's like you're just like, well, I'll just carry a gun. What are you going to do about it? Like if the cops are so inept, it's like you can easily outrun them. But the whole thing is like you're missing what it was about. Updated to today, are they going to be drug smugglers?
Yeah, like, what's the flip side in a modern term now? Yeah, I get you.
Right, Charlie. Right, because moonshining, look, that's rubbish, right? And they can't be moonshiners today because you're like, well, who cares, right? So they'd have to be
all the time. It was great.
Yeah, well, no, but they'd have to be. But to give the equivalent of why is their gun privileges taken away? Why are they on house arrest? It has to be something major. So what major thing? If you say they're drug runners or something, you're going to lose the audience. You're like, well, this isn't a fun thing anymore. Like that's not good.
Right. You can't even go like, oh, they're bank robbers, but they're only robbing from Boss Hogg or something around there. But that still doesn't translate well. It goes way too dark. Someone should be workshopping this shit and going, yeah, we shouldn't make this movie.
Correct. I agree.
That's just, it shouldn't be, I think Development Hell, the Knight Rider movie with Paul Walker. And that was a thought I just had when I was saying it, was Knight Rider would now have to compete with the Fast and the Furious stuff because because you have to do car stunts if it's a Knight Rider. You got to be jumping over shit. You got to do super pursuit mode. Fucking throw car into it, which is the evil version of Kit. But then again, does it turn into a Fast and the Furious clone and get lost or what? I don't know.
Yeah, Spy Hunter. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember.
I do remember
a bunch of movies. There was one. Wasn't it SEAL Team 6 or something he was attached to as well? There was like
SEAL Team 666.
666. Yeah, it's him versus like zombies or something.
Yeah.
Well, he was supposed to wasn't he supposed to remake like a Commando version movie or something like
and
that?
Escape from New York, which thankfully never happened.
It's
Big Trouble in China.
New York.
Big Trouble in China.
Dude.
Robert Rodriguez was supposed to do that at one time.
Yeah, just don't. See if any filmmakers are watching this. Don't you fucking dare remake Big Trouble in Little China or any of the Escape from anything. Go write your own movie.
It doesn't need
don't try and ruin it. You're not going to do anything better because you just can't.
I can guarantee you, New York's top 5 favorite movies of all time for me. That would be an effing disgrace to hell.
We will fight you.
I will. And then if anyone says it's okay, I'll lose my mind on them.
They just need to run it by us. Like all these studios, like when they come up, like run it by us, it will be like yes or fuck. That's the stupidest thing.
We'll be like Jay and Silent Bob at the end of Strike Back. We'll have that giant ass fucking list. Are you such and such producer? And go kick their ass.
That movie was the last good thing that Kevin Smith did, and then he died inside. I don't know, and then he became a garbage. But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is very funny.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that is definitely very funny. Are you Magnolia fan? Whatever. I love that. The internet is where we go to bitch about movies and share pornography.
Moviepoopshoot.com.
Poop shoot.
And also, we don't edit our swearing on this channel.
That's right.
So many people, I see people like on these other mainstream channels, and they like edit for the algorithm, and they're like, oh, we can't say this word, we can't say that word. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'll say any word.
That's why I asked last week, because I've noticed it and shit, and I was like, well, okay, if we're still cussing, fuck it. We're gonna be cussing here. We're rated R. That's what we are.
That's what the whole point is. And the reason don't bother. Yeah, I think that's kind of fallen through, and it's not going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, don't bother. Just do new stuff. You'll come up with something new. Ask us. We'll come up with a synopsis for you. I mean, fuck, I came up with a synopsis for Con Air too, which is awesome.
Just give us a piece of the action.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm a happy man. I'll take $1 million. That's all I want.
$1 million? Hell, I'll do it for 100,000. Come on.
I was going to say 500. I was going to say 500, but I was
that Phantom Menace. Now, I'm in the minority because I've watched Phantom Menace about 50 times. Yeah. But the Phantom Menace Star Wars 10240, Phantom Menace got re-released, right, for the anniversary, just like they've been doing. And like, it made more money than like new movie. So it's like, why don't you just take Escape from New York and say it's the whatever anniversary? Yeah. Do the 4K, do IMAX. I'll go IMAX screening.
They did it for The Thing down here.
Yeah.
Down in Panama City, Regal's re-releasing all these movies.
Like it's free money for them. Like Sean and I went to go see the Transformers cartoons, and when we came out, check this out. I almost went right back to the theater. We walked out, and now the marquee it's like a digital marquee, right? So it just changes. And Sean and I were walking out, and we turned back to, I don't know why we turned back, but we turned back, and the marquee changed to Mad Max Part 1, like first.
I
was like, oh my God. I was like, do you want to just walk right back? But it was at 10 o'clock start time. I was like, I'm like, we got work. And it's like, I've seen Mad Max 100 times, but I'm like, I could just turn right now and go watch Mad Max. It's like, right. So I don't understand. They play all the Kubrick movies all the time. I saw 2001 twice, I think, in the theater.
I would love to see that. I've only ever seen it on like at home, but I know the TIFF Lightbox downtown. They do stuff like that. Would be awesome. Like, just do that. Like, okay, if you're out of ideas, then do that. And I mean, there's no need to, like, ruin it. Like, and they don't even know they're ruining it. I don't think someone's going out to ruin it. They just don't even know. They're so dumb. They don't even know what they're doing.
They're oblivious.
They don't know. Yeah, they don't know.
They're throwing money at them, saying, "Here, do this." And as far as Hollywood, like studios are, if a director does this movie, they throw a shit ton of money at them, and it fucking bombs, it's the director's fault. It's never going to be the studio's fault. They'll just be like, well, that director fucked it up, sorry, we gave them too much leash, which allows them to even have more control the next time someone wants to take over a project. And it's just cycle. It's literally going down the toilet bowl. That's what's happening right now. I mean, it's just fucking flushing.
They could have made 2 Dread sequels for the price of that Fall Guy, right? Like
easily.
Everybody wants the movies that they do ask for don't get made. Yeah. The movies you don't want, okay, who wants a Fall Guy movie? Nobody. Who wants Dread 2? It's like, hell yeah, they have to make a part 2. Like,
who wants a series based on the Old Republic for Star Wars? Yes. Who wants a Darth Bane series? Me. I know. Let's do something completely, out there with nothing that anybody wants to see.
You're getting. I just saw J-Man got ready.
Yeah, as soon as I sit down, don't start me on the acolyte.
You wanted this to not be a long episode, Owen. You did. It's your fault.
It's too bad.
We're at an hour 5.
Too bad. Because the thing is that, look,
we're done the rabbit hole now.
Star Wars.
Sean said this a few weeks ago on my stream, and he's like, "Remember when Star Wars was based on pulp serial adventures?"
Remember when it was an adventure? Yeah,
like Adventure was the same thing.
Flash Gordon, right? It was just George Lucas is like, "Can I do Flash Gordon?" Like, nah. He's like, "Okay, I'll just make up my own thing." Okay, that's it. There wasn't a big thought process. They asked Stan Lee this. So Hulk was gray in the first issue of Hulk. Yeah. He was gray. Yeah. Then he was green, and they said, "Why was that?" And Stan Lee's like, "Well." He goes, they couldn't print the consistency gray properly, so he would have different shades of gray, and it looked weird. And they're like, "Oh, so what was the thought process?" He's like, "Oh, let's make him green." That's the thought process. That's it. It's like, I want to make Flash Gordon. You can't, George. All right, fuck it. I'll make my own thing. I'm sorry, guys. There wasn't this good thing. Like
Raiders of the Lost Ark was supposed to be like Spielberg wanted to make a James Bond film, and these idiots like, no, you Steven Spielberg, you're not allowed to make a James Bond film. So he went and got George Lucas to write Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he basically made an American James Bond, and that's where Indy came from.
So Raiders, all you need to do, and I can send this to you, is read the first paragraph of the Raiders of the Lost Ark meeting notes that George Lucas present. I sent it to you. Yes, read the first paragraph. It literally says this will be like these movie serials. Movie serials are 15-minute chapter plays where there's a cliffhanger, and a cliffhanger consists of an action scene that leads to the possible death of the hero, who will then escape that scene or trap or whatever in the next one, which means that every 10 minutes, an action scene has to start that's going to result in the possible death of the hero, which he will overcome. Yep. That's why there's lots of action in Raiders. And you can literally take that movie, and we'll do it if you want to. I'll time code it for you guys. You can, and Temple of Doom, same thing. It's like action scene, something happens, action scene, he almost dies. So in a serial, when he turns and sees that boulder, that would have been the first chapter.
Will he outrun it? We'll find out.
Will he outrun it? Yeah. Come back and see it. Then he outruns it. Like this is not rocket science at all. The guy likes old movie serials. I got a whole effing pile of them right there. I've got like 50 right there. It's like, just take any of them, put it in, and watch like 5 chapters. Oh, I get it. That's it. I get it. I know what to do. They're not watching it. They don't care. George Lucas liked these old things, and he made them new, just like Tarantino. Everything. It's like, we're sitting there, Kill Bill, Shaw Brothers logo. I'm like, Shaw Brothers logo? What the heck? I'm like, okay, Bill. Okay, thanks, buddy. I get exactly what you're doing. I understand this entirely. At the end, they kill Bill quickly. I'm like, right, because that's how it was in those samurai movies. It'd be like, because they're so good, whoever gets the first shot in, dead. I'm like, this happens in Lone Wolf and Cub. Lone Wolf and Cub kills the Masters of Death in 1 second. It's like, I get it. Jackie Brown. Oh, it starts with 110th Street. You got Pam Grier. You got the font. It's like you hear the 110th Street across the 110th Street. I'm like, this is a blaxploitation movie. Got it, Quentin. I understand what you're doing. Yep. And that's it. Every one of his movies you immediately understand because he likes old stuff. These people don't like anything old. They're not fans of anything. Like, they're not intelligent.
Bean counters.
But even the filmmakers like Leslie Headland is doing this Star Wars. Like, why do you want to tell a Star Wars movie?
Cash in a check. Cash.
Was that how about, I remember
check and putting Star Wars on their resume.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Good or bad, Star Wars on a resume. And if nothing else, what all this should equal is George Lucas was right when they first asked him to make more after the first 3, and he said no. till they waved enough money at him and he made the other 3 and he got shit on for a long time for it.
Yeah, he did.
And finally, where they're like, we need more, we need more, we need more. He goes, then you fucking do it and give me money.
Yeah.
It's the smartest fucking, and he knew they would though. That is the one thing to take away from this is Lucas was like, if I can't do it, how the fuck are you guys going to do it?
Right.
Here you go.
I'll just say this and then I'm done on this. I'm done for this thing, like for this topic or whatever. It's like, remember in Untouchables where what's his face? Sean Connery and Kevin Costner they go to he goes, if you want apples, you go to the orchard, or so they go to the police academy and they grab Andy Garcia and they're interviewing these guys and they're like, why do you want to be a cop? He's like, well, to serve and the public and all. He's like, don't give me this bullshit, right? He's like, tell me why. He's like, well, and then he explains why he really wants to be a cop. He's like, okay, buddy, you're in, right? They pick him up as the guy. That's the thing. Leslie, what? Tell me about Star Wars. Why do you want to make a Star Wars thing? Well, I feel that we need more representation. What are you talking about? I want you to tell me how much the question is, how much do you love Star Wars? Oh man, I got this awesome idea. It's going to be Lando and friggin' Han Solo. They're going to be going on adventures and Chewbacca's going to be with them. They're going to have like a droid and then they're going to fight, like they're going to smuggle stuff and then they're going to keep swapping the ship around. And then Lando's going to be the pilot. And then the next week, Han's going to be the pilot. He's like, oh, I lost it in a game to you. And they're going to fight these other guys and there's going to be bounty hunters out them. It's going to be awesome. That's what we want to hear. I don't want to hear, well, I like to make men uncomfortable. Or I want there to be more diversity in the Force use.
I want to see Bosk and Dengar. Why the fuck are you giving them?
I love Dengar.
So do I. Dengar's shit.
He's awesome.
Dengar's awesome.
I do have a Dengar t-shirt. Yes. I love Dengar. Where's the excitement for the pro? If I say James Bond, Raiders, James Bond, right? Rambo. Owen's like, oh yeah, shit, Rambo. I got an idea. Right. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for, well, Star Wars, Lando's command. I know. I know. It's not happening, Sean. We talked about this.
But we want it.
Stop
we talked about this, sweetie.
We've already talked about this, Sean. Yeah.
We have Lando at home, Sean. Okay.
Yeah. No, like, where's the excitement to do the thing? Like, where is the? I need to see it in an interview. Like, I've seen interviews where there are people talking. They're like, what the hell I just watched? Where someone's like, I signed up because this director, it's like John Carpenter. So it's like, oh, John Carpenter's movie. I got to get in this movie. I need to be in John Carpenter's movie. I don't care. It's like, That's right. Where's the excitement? There's no excitement for it. It's all a chore. It's either a chore or, well, I'm going to try to tell this unique story. What unique story? Tell me why you're pumped up. Why do you love Star Wars? Tell it to me. And don't tell me, well, it's a great series and, it's groundbreaking and all. Like, fuck off. Like, what are you pumped up for? Who's your favorite Star Wars character and why? Oh, Anakin, because he blew up the Death Star? Sorry, buddy. Anakin didn't blow up the Death Star, you retard. It's like, oh, okay.
You said that.
That interview was painful to see.
That's painful.
R2D2's a lesbian. I know she was joking or whatever else.
I know,
but it's like, I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But, yeah. Oh.
Like, where's the excitement? Like, I just want to see someone excited. Who's like, I can't wait.
I got
this idea. I can't wait to show it to you.
Yeah. So we stopped talking about the A-Team about 45 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But this always happens. But we have been keeping generally on track because we're talking about how things have changed from the 80s to now, and how TV shows have changed and things like that, and how we love Star Wars in the 80s and now it sucks. As somebody said, maybe you just missed the way you. Yeah, there you go.
So I came up with this on my show because there is 100% chance that we're gonna go off topic. So I actually,
that's part of the charm.
So I basically would say, okay, that is the end of talking about this comic book. Now we're into the after show, and then just I'll do one that looks more like this is my Legion one. I'll do one that looks like an action.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so A-Team movie is good and probably one of the better 80s adaptations.
Look, nobody's getting hit.
Yeah, no one hit. Not even the plane is getting hit.
They're using the wing to try to cover the. It's like
I'm hiding sideways.
Where he goes over by the stairs. He's like, yeah, what are you doing? There's like. And they got automatic weapons. It's not even like they got if they had a pistol, I'd be like, all right, they got a pistol. Well, that's a different kind of pistol. But I gotta. Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, John
you know
Scott.
what? I'm reconsidering my Dukes of Hazzard rating.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Listen, the best part of Dukes of Hazzard, that's the music video, but she does come out in a bikini in the movie, and it's like
Yes.
that's the best part.
Yeah,
of
she
Dukes
does
of
the
Hazzard.
distraction thing.
Well, that works.
There you go.
Jennifer.
That one is
God
good.
bless.
We're still going to get canceled, but whatever.
If we ain't
yes,
canceled
so-
yet, they ain't canceling us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they
Yeah,
more
people-
I'm not
stormtroopers.
making any money, so they can go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. They're not monetized. So.
That's right.
So next week we're going to be finally doing Mortal Kombat versus Mortal Kombat, which I think everybody's actually really looking forward to. Our team. So it's obviously a '95 film versus the remake. But was it 2021 or 22? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think it's 21.
I think it was 21 because like right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
I remember watching it at home.
And let's talk a little bit about MK Annihilation as well.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit.
So we'll do that. And then, guys, I have an idea which I'm going to discuss with you after for a potential versus for future, which I think is kind of cool. And it's very much apt for the fan base. So we should, was it 2020? Okay, right. And I got to hold on.
Maybe Barbara Walters directed it.
Already?
It's 2021.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wolverine, you have failed this stream.
Lies, Wolverine. You have turned the city into a house of lies. Okay, so we're going to do that next week, and 21 for the reboot. My bad. Yeah, fuck's sake.
I still have Jessica Simpson in my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, when we talk about it again. So
I'm single now, so that happens a lot. Now,
Yeah,
so
that's
okay.
It can happen when you're married too. It's totally fine to get distracted.
Well, you know what? I'm the type of guy that when I was married, it was my wife, and now that I'm not, it's like
what a liar. Let's not end this on a lie.
That bad. No, I never did that.
Sorry, I have to ask, Charlie, what the fuck are you drinking? Is that pink?
Yeah, it's sparkling ice, but it's Starburst strawberry.
Ooh.
No sugar.
Really?
Nothing.
I thought it'd be pure sugar. Oh well.
Nope.
Sponsor.
Yeah,
I'm
doing the
5
I
calories.
No sugar.
Yeah.
I am trying to
hopefully not sponsored.
I'm trying to be healthy. Can I drink my soda and be healthy at the same time?
And that's how secure I am. I'll drink a pink drink on the.
It looks very nice. So I was just thinking that. Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
It's really good. Trying to cut back on like sugary drinks.
You can have a daiquiri with a little umbrella sticking out of it. We don't care. We know.
I haven't drank alcohol since before we went off the air the first time.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, J-Man.
I did that was me.
Oh,
that was Owen. Yeah. Do you think James?
Wow.
Owen told me to shut up 3 times, and now I got.
I was like, "What? No
mouth.
alcohol? What? Are you sure about that? Like what?"
Not that I wouldn't drink alcohol, I just haven't.
Yeah. I don't drink much either. I mean, well, whenever you reach your late 40s, you kind of sort of have to start behaving yourself anyway. So that's the joy.
I always love Owen's shots on social media of what he's eating, and I'm like, "Damn, that looks delicious. I want that right now." It's like
a one-way ticket to diabetes.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was going.
Yeah. So, but I walk a lot, so that's fine. Anyway, nobody cares. So we're going to finish up here, and we will see you next week for Mortal Kombat. And if you're watching, you are the Action Elite. And until next time, Alpha Mike Foxtrot.